Ladies and gentlemen, this Saturday we have one of the biggest UFC events of all time, UFC 273 in Jacksonville, and there are some massive fights. So let's go over the main fight that I believe should be the biggest fight of the entire event, and that is Khamzat Chimaev versus Gilbert Burns. And I will go through the fight and tell you why this fight is going to be one of the biggest fights and you should not miss this fight. So first of all, let's introduce both fighters. Khamzat Chimaev is a huge betting odds favorite, so let's start with him because he is the challenger. Khamzat Chimaev, according to the UFC website, is native Czechia from Czech Republic. I guess he's training a lot with Jiří Procházka or something like that, but they got it wrong because he's originally from Chechnya. Chechnya is the region in Russia in the Caucasus Mountains. It's a very mean place because Chechens, if you remember, went to war with the Russians 2 times. So it's one of the hardest places in the world. Like if you grew up in a Chechnya in those in 90s and early 2000s, you had a probably very hard upbringing, and as we are told in the history, tough times create tough people. And Khamzat Chimaev is exactly that, because at the age of 19 he moved from Chechnya to Sweden. And in Sweden he started wrestling. You know, he won Swedish nationals 3 times in the freestyle wrestling, which is admirable. Then he moved to Stockholm and he started training in All Stars gym, where he actually lived. He's such a tough guy, he also lived in the gym. So all he knows is basically wrestling, tough times, and just working his ass off. So he's a real deal, and we've seen it because in his UFC career, he absorbed only 1 significant strike. He had 5 UFC fights, and he absorbed only 4 UFC fights, and only absorbed 1 significant strike. Just think about it. It's like he has such a hype train coming, and he has such a huge career in front of him. Like, this is in the likes of McGregor, you know, when someone came on the scene in such an insane fashion that we haven't seen it in such a long time. Maybe Jiří Procházka has such a coming onto the scene, knocking everybody out in an amazing fashion. So Khamzat Chimaev is for real. But however, this is the issue. He hasn't faced a top opposition yet. He hasn't faced anyone in the top 10. And now he's gonna face Gilbert Burns, who is on the other hand a ranked number 2 fighter in the welterweight division. And Gilbert Burns is one of the most legit fighters out there. So Khamzat Chimaev is getting one of his toughest opponents yet, his real test. So we will see now if Khamzat is for real, if that hype train is legit, or if he's one of those, as I call them, the training room warriors. And what it means is basically, you know, there are types of guys who are like just so good in the gym, but when they got into, you know, they're good in sparring, but when it comes to real fights, they just crumble, you know. Khamzat so far has been showing insane success, insane talent and skill and power and everything. He is for real. So in this match, we'll see if that hype can actually sustain someone as tough as Gilbert Burns. So let's introduce Gilbert Burns on the other side. Even though he is a betting odds underdog, Gilbert Burns has a very good career. You know, he had some losses in the beginning of his career, but Gilbert Burns is a skilled grappler. He won the Jiu-Jitsu medals in the World Championships 4 times. That tells you everything you need to know about his grappling skills. He defeated almost everyone in the welterweight division, like big names such as Damian Maia, Tyron Woodley before he was on a huge fall from the Gracies, Stephen Thompson, and he only lost to Kamaru Usman, who is the pound for pound champ. So you cannot take anything away from Gilbert Burns because he is legit. And these betting odds, I mean, I understand that Khamzat is also for real, but they make a big disservice to Gilbert Burns. Like, I think the odds shouldn't be much more even. I understand that Khamzat is having like insane hype train to the likes of Conor McGregor, and I understand a lot of fighters are saying that Khamzat is for real, but you should not be such an insane favorite unless you demolish someone in the top 10. And Khamzat is getting much bigger challenge than that. He's getting someone who fought for the title and who's ranked number 2. So what can this fight look like? You know, we have 2 high-level grapplers going against each other. We've seen that the wrestlers sometimes do very well in comparison to the jiu-jitsu players, you know, because the control of the body and the hips it's a little bit different than what the jiu-jitsu people are used to. But the most common thing that can happen is that we have two grapplers going against each other, and usually that grappling cancels each other out. We've seen it with Gilbert Burns versus Kamaru Usman, because Kamaru Usman is also a high-level wrestler. And we've seen it with Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman, because they're also both high-level wrestlers. And usually what happens is in those matches, the grappling basically cancels each other out and they go into striking. So if we ignore grappling for the first of all, let's go into the striking. Who has bigger advantage? Well, we haven't seen much from Khamzat yet because he hasn't fought anyone yet. He either knocked out everybody or dominated everyone. So we know he has some good fundamentals. The way he circled out Jared Maychard and the way he knocked down with one punch. Okay, that tells you something, but it doesn't tell you the whole story. So on the other hand, we can only judge the striking level of Gilbert Burns. And Gilbert Burns, he knocked out some people. He knocked out Damian Maia, and he demolished Tyron Woodley. So we can see that Gilbert Burns has okay striking. However, he literally got destroyed by Kamaru Usman before his striking was advanced. He got literally defeated by a jab. It is what it is. Gilbert Burns is one of those strikers who just love those winding punches, those overhand rights, those left hooks are just long and just winging, So even though that can give you some sort of power, if you're going against a very skilled striker, it can, straight one to down the middle, and your winning punches all of a sudden count for nothing. We've seen it with Kamaru Usman, very good example, right? So when it comes to striking, we'll see immediately if Khamzat is on a striking level of a professional strikers. If he's throwing straight punches and not winding anything like Gilbert is used to. When it comes to grappling, well, we've seen Khamzat dominate everyone in grappling department, but he hasn't fought anyone who is a skilled grappler. The thing is that the big question is Khamzat willing to take the risk to grapple with someone who is such a skilled jiu-jitsu practitioner? Is he willing to take the risk? I believe he is, because the confidence on Khamzat's side is insane, But let's analyze the training partners, because Khamzat Chimaev, trains with some high-level people, but it's not a lot. The possibilities you have in Sweden are limited. There is Iril Latifi, there is Jag Hermansson, but it's only limited number of fighters, On the other side, we have Gilbert Burns, who trains in American top team, and he also trained with Kamaru Usman leading to the fight. So he's getting top sparring partners from all around the globe. Well, Khamzat is, he's a workhorse, but he's limited room when it comes to the sparring partners. So this match, I think the odds are getting it wrong. This match should be much closer than it seems like. Much, much closer. And this is purely judged on what we've seen before the fight. We are seeing two high elite grapplers going against each other. But what can happen in this fight? There's multitude of things that can happen. We can see, by some random chance, Gilbert Burns submitting Khamzat. If Khamzat tries to wrestle, he might do some small mistake, put his neck a little bit up in a takedown or something, or when he's trying to control the hips. And, someone as skilled as Gilbert Burns should snap the neck immediately. Or we can see the fight can go into striking for the whole duration of the fight. Anyways, it's one of those fights that you should not miss, When it comes to intangibles, Khamzat Chimaev is a little bit taller and has bigger reach, so he should have an advantage in the striking department immediately. But this fight, holy shit. This fight, you should not miss this fight. You should not. Because either you'll get a confirmation of Khamzat's hype train, which can easily grow to the size of Conor McGregor, because the way how Khamzat is basically attracting fans is insane. Or we can see that, hey, maybe he was not ready yet because he's still young. Even though he's so good, he's still young, Maybe UFC is just rushing him too fast. and we will see that Gilbert Burns, if he wins in a good fashion, he can fight for the title again. And if he improves or shows improvements in the striking, maybe he can be a good challenge to Kamaru Usman. Or, they will fight the Leon Edwards next in a title eliminator match, because we can't always forget about the Leon Edwards. What do you think, guys? Are you looking forward to this match? Because I believe this match is the biggest match in the entire event. I mean, no disrespect to the champions, but like this match is like, so many questions will be answered in this match, and you should not miss it. So let me know who you think will win down in the comments below, and I will see you next one.